not going to get away with it. Someone is in big trouble.
Should have gone to Specsavers. Glasses start from only £25, including standard Pentax single vision lenses and a scratch-resistant treatment. See in store for details.
Talk Sport Traffic and Travel.
Looking busy for the anti-clockwise M25 through Hertfordshire. A lorry is broken down at junction 19 for Watford. Lane 1 of 3 on the main carriageway is blocked. Queues back to 20 for Kings Langley. Still got problems in the Beaton area of Berkshire. Lane closure on the A34 north as you head away from junction 13 of the M4. That's for the ongoing recovery of a couple of lorries involved in an accident a little earlier. The southbound side of the M1 through South Yorkshire is struggling. There was an accident between 35A and junction 35 near Thorpe Hesley. It's now on the hard shoulder but still looking very busy. And delays on the M53 north at junction 9 for Ellesmere Port. An accident first reported on the A5032 is actually on the entry slip road to the northbound M53 at junction 9. I'm Joanna Adams with Talk Sport Traffic and Travel.
Someone just got into a Volkswagen Transporter. Everyone is, because it now comes with free servicing and a special edition upgrade, and it costs just £229 a month. If you want to get in one at that price, you better do it quick before they run out.
Business users only. Rental excludes VAT and deposit. Comes with 3 years or 45,000 miles free servicing, whichever comes first. Subject to availability until 31st of December 09. Terms and conditions apply. Volkswagen Financial Services.
Volkswagen. Very commercial vehicles.
The Drive to Work radio show that does actually bite your bum.
Excuse me, good morning.
The incredible Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Top Sport.
10 minutes before 8 o'clock. Now we're going to be back to football shortly, but changing tack. We're now talking politics. Let's hear a clip of David Cameron from his speech at the party conference.
In a conservative Britain, if you strive to earn a wage, you will be better off. If you're frightened, we will protect you. And if you risk your life to fight for your country, we will always honour you. None of this will be easy. We will be tested. I will be tested. I am ready for that, and so I believe are the British people. So yes, there is a steep climb ahead, but I tell you this, the view from the summit will be worth it.
David Cameron, how impressed were you? Let's say very, very good morning. Delighted to welcome former Tory leader Ian Duncan-Smith joins us now. Ian, very good morning.
Morning, Ian.
Morning.
Ian, thank you for joining us. Now, Mr. Cameron, was that speech strong enough? Were you impressed?
No, I thought it was a good speech. I thought it was, did the business. It covered the areas that he needed to, and I think it needed to show that he as a leader is ready to go and get into government and become Prime Minister. I think it's important. I don't think it's important all the time to have all the fireworks that seem to go off whenever Tony Blair tried to speak, because what you got was a lot of show. You felt sort of afterwards that, rather like, dining out on sugar, that you sort of, at the end of it, felt, well, where was all the substance? And I think the speech there had the right balance of substance and a certain amount of presentation style, so I thought it was good.
Depending on what newspaper you read, of course, in different views, but a lot of people say to me that Mr. Cameron, is he really taking advantage of Mr. Brown who's struggling?
Well, I think so. I think the more I look at it, the more I talk to people, and we do a lot of work, even in the Centre for Social Justice, which I set up. We work with lots of people who have great difficulty, and the thing that I mostly get from people is that they're fed up with all of the nonsense that comes from politicians about, promising things and not delivering. So I think the important thing for David Cameron is to establish a fact that he says that he will do something, and that people can believe that we will do it, rather than all of this massive sweeping lies and games that go on and the tit-for-tat stuff. I think what people want now, finally, and they're rather fed up with politicians generally, and I can understand why, is that they're fed up with all these great big promises and then people going away and then playing games with each other in Westminster and not delivering. So the important thing from yesterday, I think, was to establish that a government that he will lead will be a government that delivers. For example, there's a whole area here in Britain which is worse than anywhere else in Europe, and that's the number of people who are permanently unemployed and cannot get jobs. And even in the period before recession, but now as the recession bites, we have something like 5.9 million people not caring for people. That's legitimate. But 5.9 people of working age who simply don't work, and it's the people who are working whose taxes are sustaining them, and many of them are on long-term benefits like incapacity benefit, where in many senses they should actually be helping and being helped to seek work. And all of that has been such a terrible disaster in the last 10 years that someone's got to do something about it.
Yeah, I felt it kept his speech simple, to be honest, for me. You know, I can relate, absolutely. So there's no like circus behind it or anything. So just on one thing I want to talk about, the elderly from the SN forgotten.
Yeah.
And he did back the health service, because a lot of the elderly, they can't afford, you know, private medical care and things like that. So, you know, he said about backing the health service, describing the Tories as the party of the NHS, now, today, tomorrow and always.
Yeah, I think the important thing is that to get this debate about health sort of put where it belongs, which is off this sort of ridiculous agenda that when Labour talks about it, they talk about ownership of the NHS. The fact is, you've got to ask, what is the NHS? The National Health Service is a brilliant idea, which is that, you know, when people need treatment, they shouldn't have to worry about money, that it should be free at the point of delivery. Of course, people say the health service is free, but it's not free because we pay for it through our taxes. So the important thing is, when is it free? And it's free when you need it, when you need health care, when you're old or when you're poor, that ultimately it's paid for, but it's not demanded when you need it. And that's the key. The key to the health service, you get good treatment when you need it without having to pay. So, you know, every politician believes in that. That doesn't leave out things like, you know, needing to have private healthcare there as well, because it helps in advances in medicine, all that sort of stuff. The important thing is people should get good, really good healthcare when they need it.
Also places free police from the mountain of paperwork that prevents them from patrolling the streets.
Well,
let's get them out there.
I don't think the police know what they're doing now, in terms of, you know, when people have a problem, they dial 999 or call the police. You know, your car's been nicked. Well, you know, what we meant to do about it? You know, I think people are losing, really losing
the touch
between the people and the police. I just feel that, you know, we don't understand what the police are there for anymore.
Well, I think there's a huge amount of truth, and frustration is the key here, because there's the terrible case he talked about where the woman and her daughter, who had suffered abuse at the hands of these yobs for years, then killed herself, and he mentioned that in the speech, and I thought that was a particularly telling moment, because there he talked about the failure of all of us, but in the heart of it was the failure of the neighbours to do something about it, and the failure of organisations like the police to take this seriously. And we wrote a book about this a few months ago, about reform of police, and what we pointed out was that police are there to help people, and the key thing